It is one of the most recognizable symbols in the world, a symbol that has many meanings. And at the end of this video, I will tell you what it means to me. Created in 1938 by writer Jerry Siegel and artist Joe Shuster, he became the world's first superhero.
I showed him the script of Superman, the entirely new concept in which there would be a meek, mild manner reporter, Clark Kent, Lois Lane, who scorned him, but who flipped over Superman, not knowing that Superman and Clark Kent were one and the same person. Now, you want to stay? You want to stay with your reaction?
Well, I was very, very excited about the whole idea. I just took on the same enthusiasm. I thought it was a terrific idea, and we went right to work right then and there.
Ever since the first trailer for James Gunn's Superman came out, people, I think, are judging it too harshly. People are saying the suit is all wrong. The actor is all wrong. The characters are all over the place. He's too weak. It's not grounded enough. Well, I think this change is good. I think this new Superman movie is going to be a surprise to everybody. And I think you're judging it a little too harshly for those who don't like it. So I hope I go into this video addressing some of your concerns. Now, I'm not trying to sway your opinion on what you've seen so far. I just want you to look at it from a different perspective. So let's begin. Every time a new Superman movie comes out, many often first start complaining about the suit. The suit has not had a dramatic change since Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, but people find it untouchable, as if the suit and its appearance are more important than the man wearing it and his actions. If you get hung up on the details of the suit, you turn Superman into someone no different than the appearance of a runway model. The essence of Superman transcends any vision or version of the suit he wore, and he has had a lot of suits over the years that movies took from. The suit has never defined Superman's actions. It doesn't erase the legacy. It only builds on it. They're tools. Look at Batman, for example, whose suit changes with each movie. Spider-Man has had many suits over the past decade with no backlash. I feel the hatred for the suit is solely based on nostalgia, specifically a certain look, which I'll get to in a moment. For example, does it matter which suit or tuxedo James Bond wears, or does it only point out the secret agent's confidence? A Superman movie won't succeed or fail due to the seams or the tones of blue, red, and yellows. It will succeed on his actions. In other words, you got to look beyond the cape. Superman has been portrayed by several different actors on the small and big screen, which brought their own take on the first superhero and brought different fans. Kurt Allen, the first on-screen Superman. George Reeves, your granddad's Superman from the 50s, was comforting and created a generation of new believers. Gerard Christopher and John Newman in the late 80s for Superboy, which dealt with Clark's growth. The producers hope you didn't notice the actor swaps during the seasons, but we won't go into that. In the 90s, Dean Cain for Lois and Clark, which focused on Clark and Lois's personal relationship along with their struggles. I still think my dad only watched the show because of Terry Hatcher. And to be honest, who can blame him? Nick Cage. Yeah. Tom Welling in Smallville ran over 10 seasons, brought a new audience to Superman, which showed fans how to be great doesn't happen right away. It's a process. Brandon Routh is the most forgotten Superman, undeservingly. A spiritual sequel to the Reeve films, this Superman learns he's all alone, yet belongs right here on Earth more than ever. He reminded audiences that we missed Superman, and Henry Cavill was the right Superman in all the wrong movies. To quote my co-host Darren Sands from the Slaughterland Movie Podcast, playing more God than superhero and often conflicted, darker and more introspective than any other version we have ever seen. His portrayal in Superman's choices often shrouded what he stood for. I do like Henry Superman because it did change with today's audiences. Tyler Hoechlin in the latest TV series Superman and Lois brought balance and relatability to the character while doing it all with 5 o'clock shadow. But arguably the best acting Superman so far has to be Christopher Reeve. Now, Christopher Reeve is the first Superman I've grown up with. He's the first one I actually saw in theaters. And really, he is my Superman. But I have to say, comparing every actor that has come after him to Chris, it's not fair. You can't hold him to the same standard. I think we're emotionally attached to Chris. We have to move on from that. While Chris has been turned into an icon of pop and cinema culture, it has set the bar, I must admit. But it's time to move on from the past of the nearly 50-year-old movie and its sequels. Reeves' version was perfect for the era of the late 70s and 80s. Just look at this clip, what he says about it.
What I've always tried to play is that he's actually a kind of a gentleman who's out of romantic comedy.
He brought Superman into a world that really needed superheroes and was hungry for them. Nobody questioned his actions. But today's modern society has conflicts, identity issues, power struggles. Every generation does deserve its own Superman, which reflects the problems of its time. Stand on their own terms and not to be compared to the past. Superman Returns and Man of Steel did suffer from some critics who don't know how to move on. Chris's Superman is comforting. I get it. But would you like every future movie incorporating a CGI Reeve? You want to dilute the milk with water in order to fill the cereal bowl? Moving on doesn't mean you are erasing him from existence. To honor the man is to remember him by allowing future actors to take inspiration. Defining is not the same as final. One actor is not the only choice. Let there be different struggles, challenges, and themes. Superman deserves that freedom, as we do. Super strength, flight, heat vision, and near limitless abilities is what draws most fans to Superman. He has powers many of us wish we had. But when his physical abilities are unquestioned, his morals are. The moments where he is underestimated is when the true hero comes out. This is what makes him vulnerable to his enemies. Lex Luthor, for example, goes after his abilities, not his morality. The only thing that can make Superman weak is not kryptonite. It's his heart. His deep care for people makes him weak in ways bullets and bombs cannot. He can be manipulated through the lives of others. He can be broken with grief, confused and burdened by his own expectations. He must be weak at moments to prove that strength is not only a matter of power, but resilience. Just look at some of these comic covers that show Superman vulnerable. He has experienced just as much as any human has. Oh, wait, how did that get in there? When Superman appears unbeatable, the tension disappears. It is when he is at his weakest does his commitment to protect humanity make the meaning even more powerful. We saw this in Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, when he sacrifices himself to kill Doomsday. Strength is nothing without the courage to use it. When I conducted a poll on the Slaughterland Facebook page, not being grounded was one of the reasons why a few people hated the trailer and why some of them may not go see the movie. But we need to go back to the roots of Superman, which I believe James Gunn will do, and knows that it must be done. It works for Marvel. Filmmakers have tried to anchoring Superman in realism with darker tones, which has never made Superman beloved in the first place. He is not Batman, and he shouldn't be treated as such. Batman is a character for the dark. Superman is better as a symbol. The stories in the comics offer vibrant colors, cosmic and imaginative sci-fi concepts. When the movies are filled with dark gray colors and heavy tones, he's just another weary person in a corrupted world. Superman should be energetic, colorful, mythic, and different. The success of Marvel movies show the audience's hunger for color and fun without taking too much of emotional tolls. Superman is not to be deconstructed or edgy. He is meant to be aspirational. Stop grounding him into a grim reality and let him fly off the colorful pages of the comic books with no apologies. Some of the best stories and villains are found in the comic books. Believe me, they are. But some of the characters we've seen recently or not too far in the past, they are getting repetitive. Lex Luthor has appeared in more Superman films than any other villain. Gene Hackman, Michael Rosenbaum, Kevin Spacey, and the insufferable Jesse Eisenberg all brought their own little nuances to the screen, but it's repetitive. There could be too much imbalance between a powerless figure and a godlike superhero. Superman needs new foes and challenges. He is not Batman, where the enemies are only segregated to Gotham City. His foes are vast and cosmic. The movies need to reflect the awesome challenges of Darkseid, Brainiac, Bizarro, and Metallo, to name a few that can test his abilities. New villains are not just obstacles, but dark mirrors that test all of his strengths and weaknesses. New conflicts are needed that raise the stakes and proves that Superman is not just a powerful man, but a legendary hero. So, there you have my take on what defines Superman, and going back to the roots of the comic books for more involved stories and tones are needed more now than ever. But as I said in the intro, here's what Superman means to me. Not only does the S on his chest mean hope, or the House of L, it means truth and justice. It means having all the ability in the world to defy the odds, even when everyone else sees that you are beaten. Stories have been told over the ages of supermen, figures in our time that reflect this through ancient stories. Seeing feats of strength or compassion can restore our faith in humanity. Superman, for most of us, is the first comic given to us by our own Superman, our fathers. This is the first Superman comic I ever gotten, and it was from my father. Superman is one of the few things my father and I ever bonded over. To us kids, and even to my kids, I believe we see our fathers as Supermen. It's hard to explain, but our fathers, as we know, can't jump over buildings in a single bound. They don't have heat vision. They can't fly. But when it comes to their kids, they're bulletproof, emotionally and physically. They can perform extraordinary feats that can impress their children. My dad can do anything. I can do anything for my children. And I believe that's what Superman teaches us, that we can go above and beyond our weaknesses. We can show our true strengths. And when the chips are down, we can get back up. It brings out, he brings out the humanity in all of us. I got to tell something to you guys out there. I hope I kind of had you look at Superman from a different perspective. And even if I didn't, I got one last thing to say to you.
Comic book. What? It's a comic book. What? It's a comic book. It's a comic book.